sharp as a gunshot. His leg bent inward at an unnatural angle. Armor plates buckled, servos whined, and the towering reptilian form collapsed with a guttural howl. Captain Elias Ward didn't blink. He stood with hands clasped behind his back, eyes steady on the alien as it writhed on the polished alloy floor. The air stank faintly of lubricant from the soldier's damaged suit, mixing with the acrid tang of fear. Another Volari staggered, claws scraping the ground. A second crack echoed, then a third. The squad's disciplined march disintegrated into chaos, soldiers gasping for breath, dropping weapons, one slamming to his knees as his spine twisted. Elias let the moment breathe. His voice was calm when he spoke. Record everything. The human observers around him, white coats and military uniforms alike, moved with quiet efficiency. Hollow cameras tracked vitals. Readouts scrolled across transparent screens. Bone density stress fractures, pulmonary collapse, oxygen saturation plummeting. Major Harper, his second in command, leaned slightly toward him. Gravity's a bitch. Elias allowed the corner of his mouth to twitch. Don't get poetic on me. Above them, a projection shimmered to life. High Warlord Zeratek, watching from his command throne aboard the orbital flagship. The alien's scaled face twisted in disbelief, his voice a thunderous snarl. What is this deception, human? Your atmosphere is poisoned? Your floor cursed? No deception, Elias replied evenly. That's Earth. One standard gravity. You're looking at it. Another Volari soldier screamed as both arms snapped beneath his own weight. The sound echoed against steel walls before fading into ragged whimpers. Zeratek's eyes narrowed, ridges along his brow hardening like stone. His voice dropped lower, controlled but venomous. You mock me with theater. My soldiers are engineered perfection. Elias met his gaze without flinching. Then perfection should stand. The hollow shimmered as the warlord leaned forward. Behind him, the bridge crew tried to avoid his gaze, clearly unnerved by what they were witnessing. Dominion doctrine preached superiority as unbreakable law, yet law was breaking bone by bone before their eyes. Harper broke the silence, his tone too casual for the gravity of the moment. They didn't believe the scouts, did they? No, Elias said. His voice carried for the recorders in the chamber, clipped and precise. Scouts reported anomalous density. Dominion dismissed it as error. They assumed our weakness. And now? Harper asked. Elias glanced at the squad of aliens, half of them broken on the floor, the others frozen in terror as though motion alone would shatter them further. Now they know the truth. The chamber's heavy doors sealed with a hiss, isolating the scene. Medics stood ready, not to intervene, but to study. Every scream was a data point, every fracture a revelation. Elias turned slightly toward the observation deck, where civilian officials watched in silence, pale-faced. He offered no reassurance. They didn't need comfort, they needed understanding. Humanity's survival depended not on sympathy, but on fact. Zeratek's voice roared again through the hollow. You will release them. You will answer for this outrage. Elias let the words hang for a beat, then replied with steel in his tone. They volunteered for your demonstration of dominance, Warlord. This is dominance. Just not yours. The alien's snarl revealed serrated teeth. You dare? Yes. Elias's voice never rose. Because Earth does not kneel. You've seen why. One Volari tried to rise, trembling, only for his femur to shear with a muffled pop. The soldier collapsed face first, blood trickling from his mouth as he choked for breath. The chamber was quiet except for the alien groans and the unhurried scratching of human pens, styluses capturing data with cold detachment. To the scientists, this was proof. To the military, confirmation. To Elias, it was inevitability. He remembered the scouts' reports. The Dominion had cataloged hundreds of species, fragile, compliant, docile. They'd never met a world like Earth. A place where predators outnumbered prey, where storms carved coastlines, where survival meant adaptation or death. Elias had been born into that crucible. So had every human. And now the Volari knew it. Harper exhaled, shaking his head. You think they'll back down after this? No, Elias said quietly. Arrogance doesn't break as easily as bone. On the hollow, Ziratek's clawed hand tightened on the arm of his throne until metal shrieked. His soldiers' screams filled his bridge, transmitted without mercy. For a brief instant, Elias thought he saw something flicker behind the warlord's fury, something like doubt. Then it was gone, buried beneath rage. This proves nothing, Ziratek spat.
Send more. Twice as many.
My warriors will not fail again. Elias gave a single nod to his technicians. Prepare the chamber. The humans moved swiftly, efficient as clockwork. Elias stayed still, gaze locked with the warlord's projection. His voice was steady, deliberate, every syllable a blade. Send as many as you like. The ground will break them all the same. The projection fizzled as Ziratek cut the link. Silence returned, thick and absolute. Elias let out a slow breath, feeling the weight of the mountain above, the weight of earth beneath, the weight of what had just begun. The Volari thought humanity weak. Now they had seen the first crack in their illusion. And cracks always spread. The chamber reeked of failure. Metal, sweat, and the sour tang of blood thickened the air. The Volari squad lay scattered like broken statues, their armored suits twisted around bodies that could no longer bear their own weight. Elias Ward stood unmoving, posture ramrod straight, as though carved from the same steel as the chamber walls. Around him, the human staff worked in silence, their professionalism cold and precise. No one rushed to help the fallen. They weren't medics here. They were witnesses. Readouts glowed across the observation deck. Bone stress fractures scrolled in crimson. Pulmonary collapse warnings blinked. Heart rate spiked, then flatlined. One soldier still tried to crawl. His claws dragged faint grooves in the floor, but his body betrayed him with every movement. He collapsed again, gasping, the weight of earth grinding him into submission. Major Harper broke the silence with a murmur. Never gets old. Elias didn't look away from the soldier's failing struggle. It's not spectacle. It's evidence. Feels like both. Above them, the holographic projection of High Warlord Ziratek returned, taller than any man, eyes blazing like molten stone. His scaled face twisted into something between rage and disbelief. You have poisoned this chamber, the warlord thundered.
Sabotage.
Trickery. No, Elias said simply. His tone was flat, measured, as though stating weather conditions. That's gravity. One Earth standard. The crawling Volari gave a final groan before his arm snapped at the elbow, with a muted pop. He slumped, twitching, then went still. Impossible. Ziratek slammed a clawed fist into his throne's armrest. Sparks danced as alloy bent beneath his strength. My soldiers endure atmospheric storms, vacuum exposure, the fire of plasma rounds. They are perfection. Elias turned, at last meeting the warlord's gaze across light and distance. Perfection built in a bubble. Low gravity. Low resistance.
Low stakes.
You optimize them for conquest, not survival. For a moment, only the hum of machines filled the chamber. Then Harper spoke again, dry and amused. You should have started them on a treadmill. A few of the human scientists smothered their laughter. Elias didn't smile. He kept his eyes on Ziratek. The warlord's voice dropped lower, venomous. You will pay for this humiliation. Elias tilted his head slightly, like a predator considering prey. You humiliated yourself. Earth only watched. Ziratek's ridges flared in fury. Then we will send more. Twice the number. Triple if required. Elias gave a single nod. Send them. The technicians exchanged quick glances, but obeyed. They knew the unspoken rule: demonstrate, document, and let the Dominion bury itself in arrogance. The chamber was cleared of bodies. Drones whirred as they removed broken armor and corpses, leaving behind only faint streaks of alien blood. The floor gleamed once again, sterile and ready. Harper walked beside Elias as they exited into the adjoining observation deck. Through reinforced glass, The Rockies stretched in the distance, endless peaks beneath a bruised sky. A world that had shaped humans to endure everything. "You think he'll keep throwing them at us?" Harper asked. Elias's gaze lingered on the horizon. "He can't stop now. To retreat after one failure is weakness. To admit his soldiers break here is worse. Good for us, bad for them." Harper's tone was grimly satisfied. "Hell of a thing. Watching a superpower eat itself. Arrogance has an appetite," Elias said. Inside the chamber, preparations finished. The feed from orbit showed Volari troops boarding dropships once again, their armor reinforced, expressions grim but loyal. They had no choice. Warlord's pride was law. Zyrtek's projection returned, smaller this time, but no less menacing. His voice had steadied, though rage bled through every word. "Observe, human. You will see the true measure of the Dominion." Elias clasped his hands behind his back. "I already have." The dropships streaked through the sky, fire tails carving lines across the clouds. Inside the chamber, tension built like static before a storm. Harper folded his arms. "Want me to start betting how long they last?" "No," Elias said. His tone was cool, unshaken. "This isn't a game." The soldiers landed in formation. They hit the floor with a thud that reverberated across the deck. For a heartbeat, they stood tall. Then their suits adjusted, gravity dampeners straining. The noise came first. The whine of servos fighting against mass. A faint creak, like ice cracking on a lake. The lead soldier staggered. Another clenched his jaw, veins bulging in his neck. The dampeners held barely. But human eyes were sharp. Elias saw the tremor in their knees, the way their claws clenched not from readiness, but from fear. "Look at them," Harper whispered. "Every step's a fight." Elias said nothing. He didn't need to. One soldier took a bold stride forward. His exosuit's knee actuator groaned under the pressure. The sound built, then snapped. The suit locked. Momentum carried the soldier forward, face first into the ground. The armor dented on impact. The body inside screamed. The others froze. A ripple of terror passed through them. Their suits hissed and whined, systems compensating against the unrelenting crush of gravity. Zyrtek's growl carried across the hollow. "Stand. Prove yourselves." Another soldier collapsed, this one with his spine arching unnaturally as the harness twisted. Sparks shot from the frame. His body spasmed before going limp. The warlord's face darkened, scaled ridges pulling tight. "No, no." Elias stepped closer to the hollow, his voice quiet but cutting. "This is Earth, warlord. Every child here carries more weight than your soldiers can bear. We learn to walk in it, run in it, kill in it. This isn't sabotage. It's survival." The projection flickered as if recoiling. "Your empire thrives where it is easy," Elias continued, words calm, deliberate. "Ours was born where nothing is easy." Silence followed. Even Harper had nothing to add. The Volari soldiers on the floor groaned, armor collapsing inward, bones snapping beneath machines that should have protected them. One by one they failed. Elias didn't look away. He wanted the warlord to see it in his eyes. The absence of fear, the certainty that Earth would not bow. Finally he spoke again. "Send more if you must. Bring your entire legion. The ground will welcome them the same way." The projection cut abruptly, leaving only static. In the observation deck, the humans stood in silence. The demonstration was complete, but everyone knew it was only the beginning. Harper exhaled slowly. "If this doesn't break them, nothing will." Elias's gaze remained fixed on the chamber below, now littered with broken bodies. His tone was flat, heavy with truth. "It won't break them, but it will make them afraid." And fear, Elias knew, was the first step toward respect.
The Dominion's response was swift. Pride could not be allowed to fracture before its legions. By the next sunrise, the skies above Colorado burned again. Dropships descended like black meteors, carving through clouds with the scream of tortured air. On the ground, Fort Eisenhower stood ready. The base wasn't a fortress in the old sense. No walls, no moats, just the silent defiance of radar dishes, defense arrays, and the humans who manned them. Behind reinforced glass, Elias Ward watched the Valari formation approach with the same stillness he had carried since the first test. This time they came heavier. Not a squad, but a battalion. Rows of warriors clad in reinforced exosuits, plating thicker, actuators bulkier. Each suit bristled with stabilizers and gravity countermeasures. They looked less like soldiers, more like machines built to deny physics itself. Harper whistled low. That's overkill. Or desperation, Elias replied. Same thing, usually. The Dominion troops hit the ground hard. Their formation rippled, then steadied. Hydraulic limbs hissed, distributing weight across reinforced spines. For a moment, it seemed they might hold. The humans in the deck stiffened. Everyone leaned forward. Could the Valari finally endure? The lead warrior raised his weapon, a massive plasma glaive that hummed with caged fire. He took a step, then another. His movements were jerky, mechanical, but he did not fall. A cheer rose from the Dominion officers watching remotely, their pride swelling with each heavy step. Siratek's hologram reappeared, looming at Elias's side like a specter. His tone was cold, smug. Observe, human. Dominion does not yield. Elias didn't answer. He watched, waiting. The Valari line advanced. Each soldier strained visibly, every movement a war between armor and gravity. Suits groaned, stabilizers flared, but forward momentum carried them. The sound of metal grinding against itself echoed through the chamber. Then, faint but unmistakable, came the first crack. Not armor, bone. A soldier staggered, his stabilizers sparking as his leg twisted unnaturally inside the exosuit. The system corrected, forcing him upright, but the tremor remained. Two more faltered. Their breaths rasped, amplified by comm feeds. The Dominion officers' cheering died away. Harper leaned toward Elias. How long before they all go? Elias's expression never shifted. Minutes. Maybe less. He was right. The strain built, invisible but merciless. For every step the Valari forced, gravity clawed back twice as hard. Their armor kept them upright, but their bodies weren't made for this weight. Muscles tore silently beneath metal shells. Tendons strained until they popped. Blood-filled lungs unused to such pressure. And then the line began to break. One soldier collapsed mid-stride, crushed beneath his own suit. His scream filled the chamber, cut short when his ribs snapped inward. Another fell to his knees, still clutch. Siratek roared, the hologram trembling with fury. Stand! Fight! You are Dominion. But the warriors couldn't hear him through the agony. They dropped one after another, crumpling in grotesque shapes. Elias finally spoke, his tone steady, every word deliberate. You gave them armor to fight gravity. You forgot their bones must carry it. The warlord's eyes blazed. You mock us. No, Elias said softly. I pity them. For a fleeting second, silence settled over the deck. Even Harper held his tongue. The only sound was the Valari dying below, their breaths shallow, their suits twitching like broken puppets. Then something shifted. One soldier remained upright. Larger than the others, his armor bristled with additional stabilizers. He dragged his glaive forward, every step shaking the chamber floor. His voice thundered through comms, raw with pain but unbroken. We endure. The declaration echoed, fierce enough to still the failing cries around him. He advanced another step, blood dripping from the corners of his scaled mouth. His spine bulged against his armor, threatening to split. Yet he kept moving toward Elias, toward Earth itself, as though sheer will alone could bridge the divide. The humans on the deck fell silent. For the first time, Harper's smirk faded. Son of a bitch. He might make it. Elias's eyes narrowed. This soldier was different, not immune, but defiant enough to challenge inevitability. A spark of respect flickered within him. The Valari reached the midpoint of the chamber. His glaive struck the floor with a resounding clang. He fell to one knee, armor trembling, body convulsing. Yet his eyes, glowing faint with alien fury, stayed locked on Elias. Earth, he rasped. I will break. Then his body gave out. With a final shudder, his armor collapsed inward. The glaive slipped from his claws, clattering across the floor. The chamber fell still. Elias stood motionless, face unreadable. Then he turned to the warlord's hologram. Even your strongest bows here. Siratek's chest heaved with rage. You will pay for every fallen soldier. Dominion does not forgive. Elias's voice was iron. Earth doesn't forgive either. Difference is, we never forget. The projection flickered violently before vanishing. In the quiet that followed, Harper exhaled. That one almost made it. Yes, Elias said. His gaze lingered on the corpse of the defiant Valari, twisted inside broken armor. And that makes him dangerous. Not because he lived, but because he proved they might adapt. Harper frowned. You think they'll try again? They can't stop now, Elias said. The Dominion's pride demands it. And next time, it won't just be soldiers. The words hung heavy in the air. Everyone knew what he meant. If the Dominion couldn't conquer with troops, they'd escalate. Ships, weapons, war. Outside, the sky was already bruised with the fire of retreating dropships. But Elias knew this wasn't retreat. It was preparation. Earth had The Dominion fleet blackened the sky. Not dropships this time, but war cruisers, hulking. Silhouettes that swallowed sunlight as they drifted into low orbit. Their hulls bristled with plasma batteries, engines thrumming like thunder in the heavens. Every city on Earth could see them. Children pointed at the streaks of fire across the dawn. Soldiers tightened their grips on rifles. Politicians whispered into comms, asking questions no one wanted answered aloud. Can we win this? In Fort Eisenhower's command center, Elias Ward stood before a wall of screens tracking the invasion. Data flowed like rivers, trajectories, power signatures, fleet compositions. To most, it was chaos. To Elias, it was inevitability. Harper leaned on the console beside him, jaw tight. They're done playing soldier. This is extermination. No, Elias said calmly. This is desperation, and desperate empires make mistakes. The Valari warlord appeared again, towering above them in a shimmering projection. His scales glowed a molten crimson, his voice cold and sharp as a blade. You mock us with gravity and broken bones, Ziratek growled. But you will not mock the Dominion's wrath. Your world is dust beneath our fleet. Elias met the projection's burning eyes. If you believe that, you wouldn't be talking. You'd already be firing. The warlord's silence said more than words. Pride warred with calculation. He wanted to destroy Earth, but he wanted to prove superiority more. You will stand trial under Dominion law, Ziratek declared. Your people enslaved, your armies dismantled. There is no escape, Harper muttered under his breath. Here we go again. Elias ignored him. You've already lost, twice. Send a third wave and you'll lose again. The problem isn't us, warlord. It's you. You built an empire in weak skies. Earth is stronger because it had no choice. The warlord's nostrils flared. Enough. If soldiers cannot break you, fire will. The fleet shifted, their weapons powering. The room bathed in red warnings as plasma batteries locked onto Earth's surface. Harper cursed. This is it. But Elias didn't flinch. His voice remained level, each word deliberate. Do it! Burn us! But understand this, our gravity still wins. Your ships are built in your orbit, not ours. Bring them down here. And the same fate that crushed your soldiers will crush your fleet. You cannot win on this ground. For the first time, the warlord hesitated. His face betrayed the flicker of doubt. He knew Elias was right. Dominion ships were titans in vacuum, but their hulls weren't designed to endure Earth's relentless pull. If they tried to descend, they would suffer the same as their soldiers. Behind Elias, the scientists whispered urgently, running simulations, confirming what he had gambled. Mass-to-thrust ratios, hull stress thresholds, catastrophic failure models, all pointed to the same conclusion. Earth itself was the weapon. Harper leaned closer to Elias. You just bluffed and... For a long moment, neither side spoke. The Dominion fleet hung in the skies like judgment itself. Their weapons charged, the world holding its breath. Then slowly, the warlord's projection flickered and vanished. On the monitors, Dominion ships began to pivot, their engines igniting in retreat. The thunder in the heavens dimmed. One by one, the shadows pulled back into the void. The command center erupted in relief. Officers cheered, scientists embraced, soldiers pounded the consoles with victory. Harper grinned, shaking his head in disbelief. I'll be damned. You scared them off. Elias remained still, watching the skies clear. Not scared, cautious, they'll be back. Harper's grin faded. You really think so? I know so, Elias said. That soldier who almost made it. He wasn't a failure to them. He was proof. Proof that with enough adaptation they can endure. And when they return, it won't just be with soldiers. It'll be with soldiers who can survive here. The weight of his words settled over the room, dimming the celebrations. Humanity had won the first battles, but the war was far from over. Harper broke the silence with a sigh. So what do we do? Elias finally turned, his expression as cold and steady as ever. What we've always done. Adapt faster, train harder, build stronger. Because when they come back, gravity won't be enough. Through the observation glass, the Rockies loomed, jagged and unyielding. Elias stared at them, his voice low but firm. The Dominion thinks strength comes from conquest. They'll never understand. Strength comes from survival. That's why Earth will endure. Harper smirked faintly, though there was no humor in it. Guess it's time to show them what Deathworlders are really made of. Elias said nothing. He didn't need to. The world itself had already spoken. Outside, the sky cleared to blue again. But every man and woman in Fort Eisenhower knew the truth. This was not peace. It was only the quiet before the storm, and when the Dominion returned, Earth would be ready.